Hello everybody and welcome to Slow Stitch Style. My name is Catherine and this is my little corner of the internet where I talk about all things making. And this video is going to focus on my winter plans. I know I'm a bit slow to the party of this. Lots of people have shared their autumn winter making plans. I hadn't quite got there yet. And originally I was going to use November and December to do a whole wardrobe review, but I'm still sort of mulling on how to make that work in terms of video formatting. So I'll get to that in December, and December will be a whole big review of the stuff that I've made and have this year and in all other years, and then January will be my goals. But with my winter making plans, I suppose there's kind of two main categories for it. There's Christmas gifts and makes, which is one, and then there's the other, which is like other things that I want to make during the next 3 to 4 months, I'd say. So we're going to start with the Christmas makes. Some of these projects, if you've watched a few of my other podcast episodes or knitting or making episodes, you would have seen before. So I apologise. But if you haven't, they'll be nice and new for you. So one of the things that I want to make for Christmas is socks for my dad and his partner. And during October, I originally started on a festive sock using the Hanna pattern by Rachel Coopey, and then actually modifying some of the colourwork designs from the festive sweater that I'm wearing here. And when I started those socks, I then realised that I loved the yarn too much and didn't want to give it away. So then I went and bought extra yarn to knit my dad and his partner them. So I bought these from Drops Nord. Hopefully you can see the colourways. So the one on the right hand side here, or my right hand side, is like an ocean blue, I think it's called, and the other one's called jeans blue. And I was umming and ahhing about whether my dad will get what colour and his partner the other. And in the end I have cast on for my dad and decided to use the darker blue because I don't like the colour as much. So if I have any left over, I would much rather make myself stuff using this paler blue. And his partner has much smaller feet. For my dad's socks, I have increased the stitch count from my typical 72 to 84. So it has been taking a little bit longer, and I've just done the heel, the gusset for the heel, and I'm about to do the heel flap. I'm working on these sort of when I'm at work, so they're like my portable project, but I am confident I'll get both pairs done in time for Christmas. So that's sort of 1/2 projects that I'm currently working on. And then the other thing that you'll be familiar with if you have been watching my podcast is this jumper that I am working on for Graham. I'm going to try and pronounce this. Lærdal, pattern number T51-19 by Sandnes Garn. So it's a Fair Isle, colourwork jumper, Stjärna colourwork. And when I finished my October podcast, I was sort of down here. Don't know if you can see that here in the body. And now I've got to the colourwork section, and I'm nearly halfway on the colourwork. So yeah, this pattern's been interesting. It's very scant and has made me feel really quite novice in my knitting. And I've knit colourwork jumpers before, I've knit big Fair Isle jumpers before, but the lack of information has been a little bit confusing. It will be steeked at the armholes. It doesn't tell you to put steeking channels in, which I haven't done, and now I feel a bit like, should I have? So we'll wait and see. The yarn I'm using for this is Roma Finol. I can't remember what the colourway is, but it's this really nice sort of rusty red and then like a cream colour. I had originally knit myself the Festive sweatover. I can't speak. I'd originally knit myself the Festive sweater that I'm wearing now in this colour, and then decided it wasn't really me, so reknit it using a blue from Roma Finol, and then pulled the other jumper apart to make Graham, the colour work jumper. So I would like to get that finished for Christmas time. One thing that is nice about it is Graham and I have a spend limit on Christmas presents, and because technically I didn't buy this yarn for this project, it's kind of like a free monetary gift. Obviously it's not free in terms of my time, but yeah, that's another gift that's on the cards. And in a similar vein, I'm hoping to make him some Comox trunks. This is a pattern by Thread and Theory. Here we go. I haven't made this pattern for a few years now, but I realised that I definitely have enough of my jersey scraps here. So I recently made Graham and I t-shirts in fabric, mine in the blue and his was in the green. As I said, there's definitely enough of this left over where I can make him a pair of the boxers for Christmas, like a little stocking filler, and I have some navy elastic that I quite like, so I'm hoping to do that. And when I originally laid out the pattern on this bit of jersey, it didn't seem quite enough, but I might have a go tomorrow at cutting these out and seeing if I can get 2 pairs out of that, because that would make me very, very pleased. So yeah, another nice little stocking filler, and because it's leftover scraps, it's kind of like a bonus Christmas present. And then the last definite Christmas present that I'm making is a gift for my sister, and also this is kind of a gift for myself. So I messaged my family sort of group chat saying, does anybody want a closet core Pouf? I have one at home, but I'm getting to that stage of the year where I have a lot of scraps. And so my sister said yes, and she said she'd like one that's kind of Beetlejuice inspired, so black and white stripe. So I ordered this fabric. It's a cotton canvas from the Mill shop, which is an online store, and I have to say I am a little bit disappointed in the quality of the fabric. I mean, it was only like £8 for a metre, so what did I expect? But the stripes, I guess, are clearly just like printed on, and the black, and this is a fabric after a wash, it needs ironing. The black isn't that intense. Like after a wash, it seems more like a slate grey colour. I mean, that's fine. I'm probably just being fussy. And ultimately, this will be a great project to get rid of fabric scraps that I have. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. As I said, I think I bought a metre, and I hope that's enough for the Pouf. I didn't check. I'm also hoping that I can use some of my black scraps if they match enough to do piping around the edge, but I might need to get a piping cord. Although I was watching Shirty Deeds the other day, and they made piping cord using knitted materials to use inside, so it was like she was truly scrap busting, but I like my yarn too much to do that. Also, that's so annoying when that happens when you wash fabrics. No, don't like it. But it will go inside the Pouf. So as I mentioned, that's the last of my definites. I should also mention, sorry, with the closet core Pouf, I have shortened the sides on the version that I've made and will for my sister's one, because otherwise I just think they end up being so heavy when they're full of your scraps. And yeah, I don't think I have that many scraps this year that needs to happen. Other things that I would like to make at Christmas are as follows. So I'm just looking down at my notes. There's a Yuletide monogram stocking that I'd like to make for Graham and myself. So when I started knitting Graham the jumper that I'm working on, I bought extra yarn because the yardage said I'd need more. And now knitting with it, I think I'm going to end up with at least 2 skeins left of the Roma Finial. I also have this much of the Roma Garn Finial from my own jumper. So this is the blue colourway. It's colour 4124. It doesn't have a name on the band. So I'm hoping to knit as matching stockings with this as the base colour for mine and Graham's in the base colour for red. I really love this design. I think it feels really sort of traditional Christmas and really beautiful. I had knit Graham a stocking in the past in like a red, white and a grey. but I don't love it. It's a bit, yeah, the yarn's not as nice. It's a bit like synthetic looking, and I would like to update our stockings if I can. I should have also mentioned that with my dad's and his partner's socks, I had originally bought more Drops Nord in a marzipan colour, but I've ended up actually using the Earth Yarns Ulster colourway that I have, just to use this up. And then I'm hoping actually I could use the marzipan to do the contrast colour for either mine or Graham stockings. And then I'm hoping there'll be enough left of the white Roma Garn Finial for the other stocking. So I'm hoping I won't have to buy more yarn for those, and there will be quite a nice like scrap busting project for Christmas. Another project that I'd like to make in terms of scrap busting, and again please excuse my pronunciation, is the Stjärna by Karolina Eckerdal. So it's a really beautiful knit star pattern, and I have this yellow yarn. So this is the Knitting for Olive Merino, and then this is some Sockshare yarn, and I just find like small bits like this really hard to know what to do with. So I was thinking of knitting little stars and then gifting them to people at work. Maybe I'm being really ambitious about what I can achieve in the time that I have. And these are also really fine yarns, so it'd be quite fiddly. I don't know if the pattern's actually for that kind of weight of yarn. So we shall see. But that is another idea that I've had. And then the other thing that I would really like to make as a Christmas gift is a Sophie scarf for a colleague at work, because every time I wear mine, so I have a few that match jumpers that I have, and every time I wear mine, she always compliments me on them. So I've kind of been like taking a note of the colours that she wears, and I would like to get some yarn for that and make that for her if possible, but that might be being a little bit ambitious. And I'm also a bit worried about making something for one colleague and then not necessarily giving gifts to everybody. So I might just have to see how that goes. But that rounds up all the gifts that I'd like to make for Christmas. So that's my sort of winter plans in terms of Christmas and Christmas gifting. And now I want to move on to some other deadline knitting. So my friend is getting married just before Christmas, and recently asked me if I could make a stocking for her and her partner that at the wedding venue, all of the cards that they get will go inside. So I've said yes. I do need to go and buy some fabric for that. I'll insert a copy of the image that she sent me for reference. So she wants just kind of a neutral stocking with their initials at the top. And I'm still contemplating whether I want to embroider their initials or whether I am going to buy some fabric and just like applique them on. I do have a combination of reds in my sort of embroidery stash. There's a silky one here. This one's like a thicker twisted silky thread, and then this is like a really nice cotton. I don't know if there's enough of any of these to embroider their initials big enough. So it might be being ambitious to think the embroidery's away, but I will take these with me when I go fabric shopping on Saturday, because at least then I know I've got like a nice embellishment colour to match the stuff. If not, I'm hoping I can also find like a nice ribbon to go around like the cuff and just like really set it off, and then also maybe a nice red colour to line the inside of the stocking. So I'm thinking neutral on the outside, their names in red, and then a nice red accent ribbon, and then red fabric on the inside as well. So that's something that I need to get done just before Christmas. And also for their wedding, I would kind of like to make something to wear, and I've really been struggling around what I want that to be, because I'm falling a bit out of love with dresses. I couldn't find like any dress patterns that I really liked. You know, it's also towards like mid to late December. It's going to be cold. You know, the wedding's at like 4 o'clock. It'll be dark in a church that might be cold. I don't know how warm the church is. So part of me thinking like, what do I already have that I love wearing, and where can I fill that gap? Originally, I was going to make the Vogue, the Klein for Vogue shirt. I think it's a V1414. where it's got like this fountain frill bit, like a frilly bit. And whilst I love that design, it was then thinking about, well, what am I going to wear that with in terms of like, I have a black cardigan, that's kind of it that would go, and I don't really know if I want to wear that, and then what would I be wearing for a coat and like accessories. So I think I'm going to put a pin in that idea, and actually one thing that I would like to do before the end of the year is make sure that I've used all my unused patterns. So one of my goals by the end of 2025 was, if I had anything left, any patterns, they all had to have been made. And then this year in September, I went and bought more. And one of those was the Butano button up by Friday Pattern Company, which I really love. And I'd actually bought some navy gingham to make it in. So it's this really beautiful like seersucker navy gingham. And I bought 1.5 meters of the gingham because I was going to make the short sleeve version. So I know I'm not going to have enough to make the long sleeve for this, but part of me thinks that having the short sleeve version anyway, and then I have a really lovely navy jumper that I could wear under it, and wear on top of it, or even like, maybe it would go with this. But then I have my really nice navy September coat, and I've got a nice navy beret that matches my jumper, and I feel like there's more of a whole look that I could pull together, and also doesn't rely on me making something, especially for like a special occasion, that I'm never going to wear again. Also, I guess the versatility of having a shorter sleeve is, if I did start to get warm at the like after party bit, if we're dancing around, like it would be a little bit more breathable. So that's what I'm thinking. I think this might be the solution, and I feel pretty excited about it. For some reason, gingham feels a bit Christmassy to me as well. So I'm going to be like hitting two birds with one stone really by making that. So I'd have a top for the wedding and know what my outfit's going to be, and then I also tick off the goal of making sure one more pattern has been used before the end of the year. On the topic of used patterns, so I should say, out of, I don't know how many patterns I actually have. I'll try and have a look on Stash Hub and insert the number. But I did check before I came to film. I have 3 patterns in my stash that I haven't used. One being the Butano button up, one being this McCall's t-shirt that I bought very recently in a charity shop for like 95p. So I couldn't resist that. And I may actually, on Saturday, I may end up buying some fabric just to make this as a really quick and sort of dirty toile. I might make the B version actually, which is a long sleeve one, because in the winter I spend so much of my time just wearing long sleeve tops under jumpers like today. So it's a Georgia top I'm wearing, which is a high neck, sort of turtleneck jersey top that I wear quite a lot. So yeah, so I think I might buy some jerseys to make the long sleeve version. And the other pattern that I have is this from Know Me by Mimi G. It's a pattern by Donny Q, and it's a pair of cargo-y trousers and also a shirt. So I bought this for Graham. Hopefully you can see that in the light. Oh, my neck clicking. And I do have some fabric in stash to make these. It looks a totally different colour in this light to what it actually is in real life. It's kind of like a browny, a greeny brown colour. In this light, it feels a bit blue. I don't know what the make of this fabric is. It's got like a twill on the surface. I got this in a charity shop when they were having a big sale, and yeah, picked it up. It was very cheap. But before I cut this out for Graham, I need to remeasure him. It's been a while since I've made him some trousers, so I just want to be sure. And often I have to really take quite a lot out of the legs because he's not as tall as what they draft men's trousers for, essentially. So that's another thing I would like to get done by the end of the year. And then Graham has a birthday in January, so I could either get it done before Christmas and it's a Christmas gift, or get it done after Christmas, in and around Christmas, and then gift it him for his birthday in January. And speaking of January, my other sort of goals are very much more for the January and February period. So I think I mentioned in this October video that I really love the January socks by Caitlin Barthold. I have added a skein of yarn to my Christmas wish list so that I can make these in January. And they're the January socks. Hopefully I said that already. They're just sort of a really nice plain sock with a frilly cuff, and I'm just a bit of a sucker for that. And I'm also a sucker for like making things that have a month in their name in the month that the name references. So I'd really like to make those in January. Another thing that I would like to make knitting wise is a pair of the Chiro Fingerless mitts, which was a free pattern that I made earlier this year, September time, using some scraps. And I have a tiny bit of the Knitting for Olive merino and this mohairy type of yarn. And I already have a jumper in this, a beret in this, and a Sophie scarf. And I'd love to have a pair of fingerless gloves that match. I am one of those people, queen of matchy matchy. I like everything to match. So, but I think that would mean buying a bit more than this, what I have here. But I feel a bit reluctant to do that. So maybe I need to look on Ravelry and see if anybody else has scraps of the navy colourways and do it that way. And then the last thing that I would like to make in January, February time, if I get around to it, and also I need to buy the pattern, is the Adria coat by Fibre Mood. So if you watched my last podcast video, I talked about some new fabric that I got, which included a like tweedy wool fabric that's actually a Lady McElroy pattern. I got 3.5-ish meters of that, maybe it was a little bit more. And originally I wanted to make another traveller coat by Bella Loves Patterns, but I already have one, it's serviceable. I've made the September coat this year as well, so I have 2 long coats, and actually this Adria coat is this really nice like tailored looking coat, but is shorter, and that's kind of why I want to make it in January, February time. I want to make it when we are sort of coming out of winter, although in the UK actually our Marches can be quite cold. But yeah, it's like a crop boxy, but with beautiful lapel details. The example that they show on their pattern or on the website is also like a quilted version, and I kind of would love to make a quilted one as well. So I think having one in a wool and having one in a quilted version would be really nice. I really struggle to find like shorter jacket patterns that I actually really love. I end up tending to go to knitwear for jackets and cardigans. So that would be exciting to make that as well. And that's it for like my definite winter plans. I probably will end up making other stuff along the way, like I have stuff that I know I want to make, but these are all the things that feel a little bit more like time sensitive, and yeah, they have those deadlines or seasons where they need to be made within those scales. Normally I just kind of make stuff when I want to make it, so yeah, not normally that good at planning out. I'd be really interested to hear what you're making this winter. If you're also doing any Christmas gift making, have you already started, or are you leaving it a little bit later? Have to admit, I have started buying gifts now as well, because I just want to be prepared. I actually find Christmas quite stressful in terms of gift giving, because I would just rather be told what people want and I just give them what they want. And I think especially as you get older and you work and you have your own disposable income, you're just like, I can just buy what I want. So yeah, although saying that, I have started my own Christmas wish list, which is getting quite big and ranges from things like patterns to fashion books to sewing tools. Yeah, all sorts of things, yarn, all sorts of things on there, and I'm hoping that I get some of those, so fingers crossed. But yeah, Thank you very much for watching. As I mentioned, coming up I'll have some style videos where I review my whole me-made wardrobe, so if you'll be interested in that, please do subscribe so that you do get notified when that's available. And when you leave a comment or like the video, it really does mean the world to me. So thank you very much for watching.